So hi everyone, I'm just heading on out to my backyard, and I just wanted you to come with me because I've just had the tree loppers back out. It's taken some time to get them out here, but what I'm going to do is swing around. House is not painted yet, so I think there's an abundance of work around here because getting them out here, any sort of trade, is extremely challenging. But as I swing around, the tree has gone, which we all know about, but the stump has been ground down. So he was out here grinding down the stump of that huge tree. As he got halfway through it, the belt snapped on the machinery he was using, and he had to head on back out. He took about an hour. He had to go back to the workshop and go and fix the belt on the machinery and then come back out for another go at it. He had a massive, what do you call it, like a backhoe, or the thing that you use to scoop up the mulch, because it produced a trailer, a massive trailer full of mulch. I mean, I was just shocked what came out of that particular stump behind me. So he had this backhoe, if that's what you call it, scooping up the mulch, putting it into a big trailer. He had so much equipment out here, it was amazing. So what I wanted to share with you was the conversation that I had with him at the completion of the job. And I walked away from our conversation and said to myself, we built up so much trust and rapport in that very brief half an hour conversation. And it was interesting because we were incredibly connected on sort of an entrepreneurial level that he didn't want to go. And his biggest complaint the whole time he was here was his lack of time. He had no time. And when the belt snapped on his machinery, oh, he was swearing and cursing, and there were some nice words coming out of his mouth. And it was the fact that he was literally trading his time for money. And he had to leave this job and head off to the workshop, pack up all the machinery so that he can go and get it fixed. And get it fixed at the workshop, then come back, and this whole stump grinding, really, which should have taken half a day, pretty much took a whole day of his time. And I sort of said to him at the end, how you feeling? And he says, oh, don't ask, he said, and his arms sort of swung out to the side, and he said, I just don't have any time. And isn't this a common occurrence when it comes to business owners, entrepreneurs? I've been there. With my real estate business, you know, you just don't have the time, and cash is not an issue for him. He's got access to finance and funds, and the reason I know this is because in that very brief 30-minute conversation, he knew what I did. He knows the fact that I'm a real estate investor here in the United States, as well as an online business owner. And he was very curious as to, you know, what it involved, and, you know, what sort of strategy was I doing, and he really did want more and more information based on real estate. And I started to explain to him that my job as an entrepreneur is to find strategies that will leverage me, that will leverage, more importantly, my time, because it's so limited. It's such a limited resource. And it was just the one thing that just, you know, you could see it in his face, that when I said about, you know, leveraging time and finding more time and having more time to myself to be able to lead a lifestyle. And I explained to him, I says, my parents at the moment, because they own the property next door, they're away, they've gone to Europe, they've gone to the Mediterranean, and they've been to Ireland with me. I took them for that trip to Ireland, and you know, the whole time that I've been doing that, he's been here working on his machinery, doing what he does, even though it was a vision for his future, and even though he loves doing what he does, he's telling me that he just doesn't have the time, and he can see how attractive it is to create some sort of income that's going to be, to an extent, passive, or to an extent that's not as rigorous or consuming on your time than what he's currently doing, which he's got a very physical business. And I said to him, I was just watching you stump grind this tree behind me, and it's physically taxing on you, physically. And he just said to me, like, he was in his 30s and he's already had his knee replaced. So I said to him, "You're back?" I mean, he said, "Yes, I've got back issues, knee issues. I mean, how long is it going to be? I can only see me really hanging out now for another 10 years with this business. And it's my passion, I love it, but I see how much time it takes for me to execute this business." So we talked about real estate and about a real estate strategy for him. From some sort of level of connecting with him, I knew for him to do an online business would be quite challenging. And I could see, just listening to him and listening to his conversation, for him to build and start building a real estate portfolio strategy in this area where I am investing and where other Australians investing would be a fit. It would be in such alignment with him and what he does, because for a start, I said to him, you have the machinery. Secondly, you have the labour. Third, you have the connections, local connections. Fourth, you're continuously driving this neighbourhood. You're driving around, you're looking around. And he asked me, what neighbourhoods am I in? And I told him some of the street names. He said, "Oh, I'm driving around there all the time. I'm doing lawns around there all the time." I said, "See how this is in alignment." Then I said to him, we were talking about some of the major costs that come with real estate. And he said, "Oh, it would be the roof, like if a new roof had to be replaced." And then he turns to me, he says, "I've done roofing." I said, "You're kidding me." He said, "No, I've done roofing." And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm actually saying to him, I'm verbalizing to him, what better alignment for you than starting now to just, start accumulating some of these houses. And keep in mind the area that I'm in here. When we talk about accumulating houses, you can do that for $50,000 per house. And so, he saw the sense of it. Then he says to me, "But what about a commercial property like a sixplex or greater?" Because he's actually currently seen a 12-unit building that's available right now. He's been talking to the owner of it, and he knows him really well, and he's quite interested in this building. And I sort of pointed out from experience the disadvantages of buying or putting all of your eggs in one basket into a commercial property like that. Many different reasons. Firstly, if you have to go and sell that property, you're relying on the buyer getting access to finance, and much tougher when it comes to commercial properties. The other advantage for owning single family homes as opposed to commercial units is that you have one house, one title, one property, and when it comes to selling, you can sell them off in little parcels. Okay, so if something happens to his machinery, then he can, sell a house and be able to fund whatever's going on, rather than a commercial property where it's a whole massive block of units. And he really saw the common sense in that. So anyway, we engaged for about 30 minutes. I know that he could have stood there longer and talked. And he's from a man from, "I've got no time, I've just got no time for anything," to really having this conversation with me, really engaging in this conversation and seeing the value that he was getting. So I don't want to keep rambling, but I think that what highlighted for me as I moved away from that conversation, because it went on for a little while about the benefits, the pros and cons of owning real estate, having real estate as a buy and hold strategy. And when I moved away from that conversation, I thought, gee, that felt good. How good did that feel to have that conversation with that man? And he's walking away with a plan now. He's actually told me that he's going to start looking in his neighbourhood for some foreclosed houses, and he's going to start to put a plan together to buy some of these properties. I mean, how good is that? That's just incredible. So I have literally, in that 30-minute conversation, just turned some light bulbs on. How powerful is that? And that was through listening, really listening to that conversation that was going on in his head and verbally about this no time, you know, frustrated. I could feel the anxiety. Really listening, asking some questions to get more information, to really feel for where he was going with the conversation. And being really authentic with him, like truly authentic, like really honest, because he was a knock-around bloke that you can't, like, if you try to fluff things up a bit, there's no way that he would see right through that. So being authentically real with him was what he appreciated. So I told him the good, the bad and the ugly with owning single family homes here as rental properties in this area. And, you know, by doing that, you yourself come across as truthful and real and authentic, and he appreciated that. So where am I? Let me tie this all together, because I want to sort of loop it back, because there was a lot that came out of that conversation, apart from me feeling incredibly good leaving that because I'd helped someone and I'd also been really true and authentic. I think when it comes to marketing anything, and for most of you that are following us or on this Facebook page, it's all about creating and developing your online business. And part of that process is marketing. And when you are truly authentic and real and honest, like I was in that conversation with the stump grinder, and be myself and say it as it is, nothing else can happen out of that other than trust, rapport, relationship being built from that conversation. So as far as I'm concerned, marketing 101 is all about that, is all about the ability to listen to people, ask the right questions, hold that space. And actually this is the title of this whole Facebook Live. I've got a little bit off track, but holding that space for someone so they can vent, share their frustrations, share their pain, ask questions of yourself, start to get relief, start to find a way, and then walk away with a plan. And that's literally what happened in that 30 minutes. So I hope that I've covered everything in that conversation. I hope that I've closed the loop there. But I think really trust, rapport, building relationships, being true, being real, being authentic is all about marketing 101. So that's my share today, a very important one actually. So I think you can try that. Chris, I can see Chris is on the call, and I don't have my glasses on, but yes, that's what it takes to be successful. The ability to listen and ask the right questions, hold the space. It's really powerful, holding that space. So Chris, great that you came on the call all the way in Australia, and we're both going to be in Phoenix in 1 week very soon, and we're going to be networking and being at that business event, Gold Convention, and also Momentum Day, and really looking forward to that. So we're pumped up for that. So that's my share today, long one, but that's over and out from here in Northeast Ohio, and check in with you again very, very soon. Trish, leisureLifestyle.com, TrishAndChrisOnline.com. Go to our YouTube channel and press that red subscribe button and get these daily updates. Bye for now.